Hey everyone, ready to explore mindfulness meditation with us? We're going to take a deep dive into what it is, what the science says, and how you can actually get started. We'll be looking at this super interesting article from the American Psychological Association. It's called Mindfulness Meditation, a research-proven way to reduce stress.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like mindfulness is everywhere these days, and for good reason. The research is really compelling.
Yeah, it really is. The article kicks off with a really simple definition of meditation and says it's all about training your attention to get to the state of calm concentration and positive emotions. Sounds pretty awesome, right? Especially with how busy everything is these days. But I guess I'm curious, what makes mindfulness meditation different from other types of meditation?
Well, the article breaks it down into two main parts. So there's attention and there's acceptance. Um, with attention, it's all about being in the moment. What are you experiencing right now without judging it? And then acceptance is about noticing all those thoughts and feelings you have,
Hmm.
but not getting totally swept up in them. Like acknowledging them, but not letting them control you.
So it's not about totally emptying your mind, which is what I always thought meditation was. It's more like just being curious about your thoughts, right? Like being an observer.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. It's not about making your thoughts stop, but more about changing how you relate to them. Like imagine you're watching leaves floating down a stream. You see them, you notice them, but you don't try to grab onto them or change where they're going.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So the article talks about things like breathing exercises and yoga and guided lessons. Are those supposed to help you be more present?
Exactly. And actually, those techniques, they make up a big part of these structured mindfulness programs like mindfulness-based stress reduction, which people call MBSR, and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, or MBCT.
So MBSR is more for stress, and MBCT uses mindfulness to help with things like depression. Is there science behind both of them?
Yep, and there's tons of research. There are over 200 studies that show that these programs can really help with stress, anxiety, and even depression. It's amazing how much evidence there is.
Over 200 studies. Wow. Okay, so how does mindfulness actually work? Does the article explain that part?
It does, and it's super interesting. Basically, mindfulness helps control your body's stress response, which is important because, when you're stressed all the time, it weakens your immune system,
Yeah.
and that can lead to other health problems. So mindfulness kind of helps to dial down that stress and gives your body a break.
Oh, so it's like hitting the pause button on all that stress we deal with every day. Yeah, I can see how that would be good for you. But does it do more than just help with stress?
It does. There's actually studies that show that mindfulness can change your brain, like literally change the structure and activity of your brain. And it affects areas like the amygdala, which is all about processing emotions, and the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for planning and making decisions.
Wait, it changes your brain for real. That's incredible. So just by practicing mindfulness, you can actually rewire your brain for the better.
Yeah, it's a great example of neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to change and adapt. Mindfulness is a way to kind of, intentionally shape those changes in a positive way.
Wow, this is blowing my mind already, and we're just getting started. So the article mentions something about mindfulness being really helpful for depression. What's the connection there?
Well, it says that MBCT, remember that one we talked about?
Yeah.
It can really reduce the chances of relapsing for people who have dealt with major depression.
I wonder if that's because mindfulness helps you to detach from negative thoughts, like those spirals of self-criticism and worry that can be so tough to deal with.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Mindfulness lets you see those thought patterns but not get caught up in them. It's like having this inner observer that can just notice those thoughts without judgment. You're not fighting them.
So instead of being consumed by those thoughts, you can take a step back and observe them without letting them take over. That sounds really empowering.
Right. It's about shifting from feeling stuck in your thoughts to becoming an observer. And that can be really freeing.
So far, we've been talking about mental well-being, right? But I've heard that mindfulness can also help you physically. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, the article mentions that too. It says it can even help people with chronic conditions like reducing pain and fatigue. That's amazing, right?
Yeah, it is. It's crazy how connected our minds and bodies are. When you can calm things down on the inside and lower your stress, it really does affect your whole body. It's not just about feeling relaxed. There are real health benefits.
That makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
The article even says that mindfulness might boost your immune system. Is there research to back that up? Yeah, there's definitely more and more research coming out about that. Some studies have found that mindfulness practices can make certain immune cells more active, and that could mean your body is better at fighting off infections.
So maybe it could even help us recover from things like colds or the flu faster. That would be amazing. So we've talked about what mindfulness is, why it's good for us, and some of the possible benefits. Okay, but let's get practical here. How can someone actually start doing mindfulness? What tips does the article have?
The cool thing is that there are so many different ways to learn and practice mindfulness now. It's way more accessible than it used to be. There are classes, online programs, even apps on your phone. There's really something for everyone.
Wow, so many options. But does the article recommend anything specific?
Well, if you're looking for something structured and research-based, it suggests finding a therapist who's trained in MBSR or MBCT. Remember those. Those programs have the most scientific evidence behind them.
That makes sense. But it's not like a quick fix, right? It probably takes time and effort to really get into a mindfulness practice.
Definitely. It's a skill like anything else, and it takes time and practice to develop, like learning an instrument or a new language. It
Hmm.
needs patience and commitment.
So it's not about sitting down for 5 minutes and expecting to suddenly be enlightened.
Yeah, not quite. The best way is to start small, try different things, and figure out what clicks for you. It's not one size fits all.
That's good to hear. So no pressure to become a meditation guru overnight.
Exactly. The most important thing is to be open and curious and just see where it takes you. And over time, as you get more comfortable, you'll naturally find what works best for you.
Like finding your own mindfulness rhythm. I like that. You know, the article mainly focused on MBSR and MBCT, but I know there are other kinds of meditation out there. Do those have unique benefits too?
Oh, for sure. The world of meditation is huge. Things like loving kindness meditation, which is all about compassion and empathy, or transcendental meditation, where you repeat mantras to quiet the mind. Those offer different paths to inner peace and well-being.
So it's like a whole buffet of meditation to choose from. I love that the article encourages people to explore and find what resonates with them. There's no right or wrong way, really.
Totally agree. It's all about discovering what feels most genuine and helpful for your own journey.
This has been so eye-opening so far. We've talked about the science behind mindfulness, all its incredible potential for our mental and physical health, and all the ways to get started. But I'm curious, do you think mindfulness could even play a role in some of the bigger problems we face as a society, like burnout, people feeling isolated, even all the political division? Could it help with any of that?
Hmm, those are some great questions. I do believe that mindfulness has potential there. When we become more self-aware and learn to regulate our emotions, we can deal with stress better, connect with others authentically, and even have tough conversations with more empathy and understanding.
So, by calming things down internally, we can create space for more compassion and connection, both with ourselves and with the world around us.
Exactly. It's not a magic solution, but it can definitely equip us to navigate all the complexities of life with more grace and skill. It's like building a stronger compass to guide us through tough times.
I like that analogy. So, we've talked about individual benefits, but what about mindfulness's impact on a larger scale? Could it contribute to a more peaceful and just world?
That's a big question, but an important one. Imagine a world where more people responded to conflict with understanding instead of just reacting, with compassion instead of judgment. If mindfulness can help us cultivate those qualities individually, imagine the ripple effect it could have on our communities and even the whole world.
It's a beautiful vision. The article mentioned how mindfulness might help the immune system, which is fascinating. But do you think it could also boost our cognitive skills, like creativity and problem solving?
That's interesting. We already know that stress can block creativity and make it hard to think clearly. So if mindfulness reduces stress and helps us focus and be more present, it makes sense that it could open up new ways of thinking and innovating.
So it's like mindfulness clears out the mental clutter and lets those sparks of creativity come through.
That's it. It lets us see things from different angles, connect ideas that seemed separate before, and approach challenges with a more open mind.
So mindfulness isn't just about feeling better and less stressed. It could actually help us think better and reach our full potential. This is incredible.
It really is. And it shows just how powerful mindfulness can be. By cultivating this awareness, we open ourselves up to so many possibilities, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, from personal benefits to societal impact. But let's go back to something we touched on earlier, the importance of finding a mindfulness practice that really works for you.
Yeah, that's super important. There's no one right way to do it. It's about trying different things and seeing what fits your needs and preferences.
So don't be afraid to experiment. Try different styles of meditation, guided meditations, apps, or even just bringing mindfulness into everyday things like walking or eating.
And remember, consistency is key. Even just a few minutes every day can make a big difference over time. It's about making it a habit, a natural part of your life.
Small steps, consistency, and finding what you enjoy. Got it. But what about when our minds inevitably wander during meditation?
Oh, that's totally normal. It happens to all of us. The trick is to gently bring your attention back to the present moment without being hard on yourself. It's about training your attention, and that takes time and practice, just like any other skill.
Like gently guiding a puppy back to the path when it runs off.
Haha, I like that. Patience and self-compassion are essential in this mindfulness journey.
As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave everyone with this thought. Don't overthink it. Just start somewhere, be curious, and see where it takes you. You might be amazed by what you discover about yourself and the world around you.
It's an adventure worth taking. And remember, the benefits of mindfulness are there for anyone willing to put in the effort.
Now, as we head into the final part of our deep dive, here's something to think about. We've explored a lot of the research-backed benefits, but what about the experiences and insights that can't be easily measured or quantified?
That's a great point, and that's what we'll explore next. Stay tuned, because we're going to dive into the more personal and nuanced aspects of mindfulness and how it can enrich our lives in ways that go beyond what science can measure.
All right, so we've talked about the science, the benefits, even some techniques, but now I want to get to the heart of it. Like, what does mindfulness actually feel like? What kind of insights and experiences can it unlock? The stuff you can't really measure in a study.
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting. Because research is great, but it can only tell us so much about what it's actually like. Mindfulness is a really personal journey, and it can lead to these profound shifts in how you see things, how you understand yourself. Some people even feel this interconnectedness with everything around them.
So it's not just about checking off boxes like, okay, my stress is lower, check. It's about a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world.
Exactly. For some people, mindfulness helps them appreciate the beauty of everyday things. Like all of a sudden, taking a walk or eating a meal becomes this rich sensory experience.
I can see that. When you slow down and pay attention, you start to notice things you never did before, like the light through the trees, the taste of your food, the feeling of the sun. It's like waking up to the world all over again.
That's it. And for others, it's about developing a deeper sense of compassion for themselves and for other people. They start to see the humanity in everyone, even people they might have judged before or felt separate from.
That's powerful, especially in a world that feels so divided these days. Do you think mindfulness could actually help people understand each other better, build connections?
It definitely has the potential. It's a powerful tool for breaking down those walls and building empathy. And, for some, mindfulness can even lead to spiritual insights, this sense of connection to something bigger than themselves. And that's not tied to any one religion.
Right, so it's not about following any specific dogma. It's more about that human need for meaning, for connection, something we all share.
Exactly. It's about tapping into your own inner wisdom and asking those big questions like, who am I? What's my purpose? How can I live a life that really matters?
We all ask ourselves those questions, right? It sounds like mindfulness could be a way to explore them with more clarity, with a more open mind.
I think so. It's about being curious, being open to learning and growing, seeing life as this amazing journey.
Something I've been wondering about is how mindfulness could affect our relationships. The article didn't really go into that, but it seems like, being more present and aware would have to change the way we interact with people, right?
Absolutely. When you're more mindful, you can really listen to others, be present with them, and respond in a more understanding and empathetic way. It can totally change how we communicate and connect.
So mindfulness isn't just something you do by yourself in a quiet room. It's about bringing that awareness into all parts of your life, even your relationships.
For sure. It's about making mindfulness a part of who you are, not just something you do for a few minutes a day.
And I think that's where the real magic happens, when it goes beyond just sitting on a cushion and starts to affect everything you do, everything you are. It's about discovering yourself, connecting with that inner wisdom, and creating a more fulfilling life, both for yourself and for the people around you.
That's a great way to put it. And the amazing thing is, anyone can go on this journey. You don't need anything special, just the willingness to be present, to be open, and to explore all those possibilities within you.
So to everyone listening, if this has sparked your curiosity even a little bit, I encourage you to take that first step. Explore mindfulness, try different things, and see where it leads you. You might be surprised by how powerful it can be, just by paying attention.
It's a journey worth taking. And remember, every moment is a chance to start fresh, to cultivate that awareness and to step more fully into this incredible life.
That's a beautiful thought to end on. And with that, we're wrapping up our deep dive into mindfulness meditation. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel inspired to explore this incredible practice for yourself. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.